in the strawweight division. It's time to welcome our first fighter, Luke Penberthy.
Luke Penberthy from SBG making his way to the cage. And Brian, you were talking to me before the show started to say he's a very tough customer, but it's fair to say he's also inconsistent.
If you look at his record, there's that win-loss background, but I also believe that is what his amateur is for. And if you look in his corner, David Grant there from the UFC speaks so highly of this young man, says he's never out of the gym, deserves these sort of opportunities. And being under the wings of somebody like David Grant, somebody who is so loved and adored on the British, the European MMA scene, but somebody who's making waves himself within the UFC. This young man's in the right place, and I'm sure David Grant is making the right choices for him, and this is a great show for him to be on, and it's a long drive down, but they're excited to be here.
And I say inconsistent, but the great thing is, it's a learning curve. He is still amateur, and he's learning the amateur path before turning professional, and a bit of submission specialist. He likes the arm bars, but as you said, at that level with that sort of corner, it's a learning curve, isn't it?
At 17 as well, that's the other thing we're talking about. 17 years old and having all this experience, taking these sort of chances with what he wants to do, with his passion, with how he feels, and he looks very fit and ready, so let's get it rolling. Let's hand it back to Buddy.
And now, welcome his opponent, Adil Cherfi.
Now, Brian, if this was a radio show and they're talking about things, you couldn't make this young man's story up. You'd have that violin playing in the background and everybody would be rooting for him.
I've got goosebumps now, and we should explain exactly why. You saw the young man walk out in the Brad Pickett t-shirt here. He is an uber fan, a super fan of Brad Pickett, and he has followed him around the globe as a fan, and also trained with him out in Malaga under Luke Barnett with the training camp there. But he travelled all of last night, the night before the weigh-ins, 6 hours on a coach, slept outside the venue to be there so he could weigh in, wanted to help with every single aspect, just wanted to be on this show as well, turned up at ROC 6 and said, what have I got to do? And that's enough for Brad Pickett. When you see that sort of mentality, that sort of heart, willing to do those sort of journeys, he's deserved this spot, and he's got a chance now to fight under his idol's banner of ROC tonight.
Now, it's a tough call for him, his first time out. Referee stopped it late in round 3, but it's a big ask for him tonight.
Huge ask, but also with that opportunity, risk comes reward, and let's see if he can make it pay.
Rise of Champions number 7, right here at the Brentwood Center. We open with 3 3-minute rounds in the strawweight division. Introducing first the blue corner, standing 5 feet 9 inches tall and weighed in an official 115.5 pounds. As an amateur, 3 victories against 3 defeats, representing SBG Fighting out of Bishop Auckland, presenting Luke Penberthy. And across the cage, also standing 5 feet 9 inches tall and weighed in at 112.6 pounds. As an amateur, 1 defeat, representing Team Titan Fighting out of France, presenting Adil Cherfi. And when the action begins, your referee in charge, Mr. Daniel Movahedi.
Dan waiting till the corners are out and the cage door will be shut. And if you look at the tail of the tape, you can see that he's giving away experience here, Adil. Height's the same. He's the older, but he looks so baby-faced as well, Brian.
Absolutely. They're sporting a Lilius Barnett bad boy shorts there from his training camp out in Malaga with Brad Pickett and Luke Barnett. And one thing we got told about his style is very unorthodox, and somebody that has to train himself a lot of the time, and we're going to see what sort of skills he's developed from just being a super fan of the sport.
Well, he's done well in terms of they both exchanged knees there up close, and the boxing, it did favour Adil, which is why Luke looked to go into the clinch. And this is where, nice spin though there from Cherfi, but I feel this is where...
the armbar could be on here. This is a lovely thing, and he's got the triangle as well. And just to say that, Luke, last fight he lost by inverted triangle. That would be unbelievable if it's back-to-back. But this is a very difficult position for Luke.
Do you think Adil did his research there? It was very quick. I felt that maybe he might be in trouble if Luke didn't like that boxing, took him to ground. But what a shock and what an upset this will be, and what a dream come true for Adil Cherfi.
I'll start writing the script now, Malcolm, because you could have a movie on your hand with the journey this young man has made, quite literally, to be here this evening. But Luke stayed patient that time. Now Adil's got to be very careful. That arm is in danger. You can see that he's locking up on the bicep just to make sure that Luke doesn't pull it through. But a submission specialist is how Luke describes his fighting style.
That's right, 2 of his most recent wins were by armbar, but again, that experience showed there and paid. You can't replace that, Brian. He was under pressure, and you hit it on the nail. He stayed calm. That was the moment for Adil, but the moment Luke's head popped out, you thought, there's that experience.
Yeah, and we're seeing a little bit of inexperience on the other side now. You can see he's trying to do an arm triangle from the bottom there. Almost a modified Dars, I suppose. But that's just going to burn your arms out. What you should really be doing now is trying to regain some sort of position, because you're just going to tire yourself out, and that's exactly what Luke wants to do. Apply that body pressure. And now knee on belly, into mount very easily there.
Brian, it was a beautiful transition. It was calmly and coldly done. Now he's trying to buck Adil, but this is a really bad position for him.
Bad position early in the fight. And being talked through step by step now by David Grant, almost like somebody controlling with a joystick at the edge of the cage. Now he's just got to pick what he wants to do, because this is a really bad position for Adil.
For a moment there, I thought that Luke was going for the arm again, but Adil, he had that moment now under pressure. The up kick there, though, but still in this bout, the fairy tale still continuing at the moment, but it looks ominous for him, I've got to be honest, Brian.
The pressure, especially from Luke, that experience showing through, because he's holding position and then transitioning. He's making sure he's got a stable point to go to the next point, and you can see just with the flailing underneath with Adil, a lot of panic in that, a lot of inexperience, but he survived round 1. We start standing again. Round 2 is going to bring him a whole new chance to keep this dream alive.
Now, he not only survived it, he almost made the dream come true. You mentioned movies, it was almost that movie-style start. And you look at his experience, you look at what he's up against, and you honestly feel you've got to take those opportunities. Easier said than done. We're outside the cage, we're in comfort. But with everything else that's going on, that was his opportunity round 1.
And maybe it just came a little bit too early, because all the pressure, all that adrenaline still flowing, locked that inverted triangle up after getting hip tossed by Luke. And now if he's got to hope that he's obviously felt Luke's pressure on top. He's either got to keep it standing, or if another position on the ground comes, he has to capitalise.
Now, what progressed afterwards in that first round as we approach round 2 now was, you mentioned, the control by Luke. He stayed calm, he went back to the corner, he's hardly breathing heavy, yet there was superb control, especially, and you mentioned those transitions, north-south, side control, and then mounted at will.
Yeah, that knee on belly to mount was textbook, and exactly how, if you are training a young man or a young woman, how you'd want them to progress from each position, keeping themselves out of danger, and causing as much pressure or damage as they can. Now Adil, desperate shot there.
Yes, there was an exchange of knees. The jamming knee came up from Luke, the single leg shot came in from Adil, but there's that inexperience and that naivety almost.
Certainly likes to work from the clinch as well. Looked like he was on a couple of occasions in the first round and opening on the second, like to grab the back of the head there. Oh, now he could be in deep trouble. Now he's locked this up. If he gets his fingers on the biceps, and now he's turning. This is almost like a power guillotine. Oh, he's turned him over with that. Oh, this could be it. Just needs to catch those legs. That's the only way that Adil can really survive.
Dan Mulvahedi looking very closely now. He knows how dangerous this is
that's
for
it.
Adil.
Mounted as well, but look, he's let that go and just moved on. And that again is showing progress from him. He's not just holding on to something, he's trying to make... Now he moves to the armbar, exactly as he said, make a transition, but Adil stacking him up.
You did wonder when that armbar attempt would come in. I thought he was going to do it late in that opening round when, as you said, he decided to stand. It's almost like he wants the minutes in here.
Oh, and he's doing that, and that was a beautiful transition to a triangle. From Adil on top, threw the legs over, rolled Adil over, and now he's turned the corner. That's it. That is a wonderful display of chain jiu-jitsu from Luke. But what a show of heart, Adil.
Well, with Adil as well. Oh, this is, as you said,
deep.
this is really locking on now, Brian. This could be it.
Oh, he's trying to keep that. That is, the hips are really in deep now. That is right in front of us. Oh.
He didn't tap. Dan Mulvaney called off. I mean, we talk about that naivety, but that's also that heart as well. He was going out on his shield, no complaints. But for me, a second-round masterclass. But for Adil, what heart, Brian?
And let's remind people of the journey he takes to make these things happen. He came all the way over here to watch ROC 6 on his own, travelled on coach, waited outside the venue to get inside, was asking to help with whatever he could to get the opportunity to fight on ROC. Then went out and trained in Malaga just because Brad Pickett was out there. Took a coach for 8 hours to Malaga to train with Brad Pickett. Then he's come here the day before, and what heart, but also let's give Luke some real props.
From here, Brian, it was a
skill.
masterclass, wasn't it? The transitioning, the movement. Adil was in constant trouble. And as you said, the way he moved, he didn't just focus on one technique. You thought the armbar was going to come in, and then just a masterclass of movement. But Adil, as he did in his first bout, referee stoppage, refused to tap.
I thought the arm was going to go there. That would be a tragic thing to see in such a young man, but what a wonderful fight first.
Ladies and gentlemen, our referee called a stoppage to this bout 2 minutes 1 second into the second round, declaring your winner by submission with an arm bar in the blue corner, Luke Penberthy. And show your love for Adil Cherfi.
We play that at all? Yeah, this time. If you want to use it.